Okay, guys. So, let me actually, when you first open up Houdini, split pane top bottom. When you first open up Houdini, you've got three areas here. And you've got your scene view to the left, your parameters up top right, and your network view on the bottom. Now, you don't see anything yet because absolutely nothing is in the scene. So I want everybody to press Command and press the sphere at the very top of your shelf. So we actually have something in our scene and we can play with that. So the first thing is like how to tumble, pan, and zoom. In Maya, you guys are used to using the Alt key, right? But in Houdini, we use the space bar. And we're using a Wacom pen, so it's a little different, but it's the left mouse button for tumbling, but just, you can just press your pen and just like tumble like this. You can just put the pen on the screen and just tumble like that. Then, still with my space bar down here, with the pen button, the lower pen button, the bottom pen button, I want you to press that. And now you can zoom. Then with the top button on your pen, you can pan. Okay, with your mouse, with your pen on the screen, you can pan with that. Take notes. If you don't, there's a little sticky if you see where my mouse is, and let me know if you can't see anything. There should be a magnifying glass somewhere, right? Do you know what's the shortcut again? Sorry, for this.
Oh, Command spacebar.
Command space, and then magnifier. There's no like magnifier. Accessibility.
Yeah, it might be in there, and then you have to enable it with zoom. Maybe.
Zoom.
Oh, use keyboard shortcut to zoom.
Okay, well I remember this. So it's.
Is that shift?
Is Shift Command 8. Shift Command 8. Let's try that. So Shift Command 8. Shift Command 8. Nope.
Is it Shift Command minus?
What do you think?
That's to toggle zoom, and then to zoom in is Shift Command equals.
Shift Command equals.
Just to zoom in.
Shift Command equal. Oh well.
Okay.
Hopefully you guys can see it. So if you don't have a pen, paper, you can just type notes right in here with the sticky. Okay, so one of the things, like, if I have my sphere selected, space G homes it in. Same with my node in my network view, space G will home it in. It was already pretty zoomed in anyway, but if I have this pretty zoomed out, space G gets it right there. We just home that. Home the node, home the sphere, space G. Okay, so let's talk about these 3 panes. So top right, we have our parameters. The way I like to work is I don't want 3 panes, I just want 2. So there's a little, if you look at these tabs, there's a little X. So I'm just gonna cross out these X's. And then when I want my parameters, all I need to do is press P. That's another shortcut to write down, P, to get my parameters. So I just like toggle that on and off constantly. And that way I've got more space to work and I only bring up my parameters when I need them. Okay, let's talk about flags and objects and geometry. This is like this is where it's like, this is a brand new concept that does not exist in Maya or probably in other 3D packages. Okay. In Houdini, you have many levels, but let's talk about the scene level. This very top scene level is where you've got your geometry containers, your geometry networks. It's just the same thing. It's just the container for the network. And you have your lights, you have your cameras, you have parent-child relationships. That's happening all at this scene level up here. Scene level. Now, the thing is, if I select this object, I can just, double click inside. There's something inside, and it's a sphere. And if you look at the top right, it says geometry. This is where I lay down my nodes and create my network. These are not parent-child relationships here. This is one node, and underneath it, we're going to put other nodes to affect the sphere. We're going to manipulate the sphere. To get back up, there's a couple ways. So if you look at the top where my mouse is, it says OBJ sphere object 1, and that's like a file system. So you can simply click the OBJ to go back up. And you can double click to go back in. But there's also shortcuts. I can press U to go back up, U for up, and I to go back in, UI, up, in. So I just, the things that are, I can point out the things that are going to be difficult when you first open Houdini and first kind of wrap your head around the workflow. It's like, this is one of those things that's kind of hard to grasp in the beginning, but you'll get used to it. Scene level is where the big stuff is, the cameras and the lights, the things that make your scene. But you're gonna go inside. This is where all your networks live, inside. So let's talk about this for a sec. So I'm inside, and you can see the icon. The icon is specific to that sphere. If I go U for up, you can see all of these icons are like the same. No matter what's inside, it's just like a geometry object, right? Let's go back inside. I to go inside. So we're back in our sphere. Let's make our first network. I am gonna press tab. And when I press tab, I have about a gazillion nodes here that I can lay down. But what we want is to manipulate this sphere. I'm going to say MOU for mountain, and you just type it. And then it's like, oh, you want this mountain. So I put down the mountain node. And then I click on the bottom dot, and then I click on the top dot of the mountain to connect the two nodes together. But I don't see the mountain. I don't see the mountain because we have to turn on what's called the display flag of the node, of the mountain node. So I just click on that mountain display flag, and now I see the crumpled sphere. And this is going to happen today as we work, and someone's going to raise their hand and they're going to be like, nothing's happening, I'm not seeing anything. First thing I say, where's your display flag? If your display flag is not on the node of what you want to see, of what you want to be displayed, you will not see it. That's the point of the display flag is, okay, this node has the display flag, I see it.
Oh, sorry, just for clarification.
Yeah.
So the bottom little circle indicates output and the top one indicates input, if I understand that correctly.
Say that one more time.
So for making connections,
Yes.
The little bottom circle, I don't know what else.
What do you mean by bottom circle? Like, wait.
Oh, I see.
Like when it comes to making
She's talking about the bottom node right here.
Yeah, the bottom, whatever the circle, the circle, that blue circle. The blue circle means that's what's being displayed.
Oh, well, no, I was asking about it.
The one for the connectors.
Oh, the little dot.
Yes, the dots.
Yeah, so that means it's connected.
Yeah, so the bottom one means output and top one means input.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. The bottom dot is the output of this node. So each node has outputs and inputs, except for a couple nodes that only have outputs. Go ahead.
Why is it different when the sphere might show number one and the mountain tend to option zero? I'm gonna enter.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could just go one level higher.
I like how I just use my pen to
Yeah.
override there.
Is that because I double clicked inside?
You went
Yeah,
inside.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
so you went a little inside. So a little secret that she just found out. You see this little lock here? That means that it's a digital asset, which means that there are nodes inside of the mountain SOP. Don't do this. Don't click inside, but it's like, there's a lot of stuff that makes up the mountain. Some nodes are made of other nodes. You see that little lock? You can actually unlock it, go inside, and see how they built it. But other nodes, like the sphere you can't go inside. It was built in C++. It's a totally separate thing. You cannot see how it was made. But anytime you see a node with a lock, you can go inside, and I don't recommend it right now when we're just beginning though. So if you want to get rid of the connection between these two nodes, you hold down Y, and you see my mouse just turned into a scissors. Just hold down Y and just cut. We've now cut the connection. Now, I see some people are working on mice and some people have pens, so let's just all be on the same page. This bottom button on my pen is the middle click, and this is the right click. Okay, so middle right. So I'm just going to say middle, and that's what that means. Okay. So you can also right click if you don't want to. You can also get to tab. Instead of pressing tab, another way of getting the library of nodes is to just click on this output guy, this output dot, right click, and then you can type mountain that way. And then it automatically connects it. So it's a little, you kind of skip a step if you do it that way. Some people like that way. Some people like to connect their nodes. So that's another way of doing it. Right click, pick the operator, lay it down, and it's automatically connected. Okay, so let's connect it again. If you want to see the parameters of your mountain, press P. And right over here, we've got all these options for the parameters of your mountain. We'll get to that soon. Okay, let's keep on. We got to still talk about flags. There's a lot of flags. The rightmost flag is the display flag, right? Now, you have two options for flags. You can actually click on the actual flag if you're zoomed in. But if you happen to be zoomed out and you can't see it, this handy radial menu here of selecting your flags is also great. Either way is fine. So you can either select your flags this way or select it this way. They're the same exact thing. So what is the yellow flag right here? Yellow flag means ignore, bypass. So now the mountain has no effect. You will use this a lot because a lot of using Houdini is like figuring out why something doesn't work. We ignore the node to see the effect. Maybe that node was causing the problem. Or to just try things out to see how it looks with or without something. So bypass is the yellow guy all the way to the left. Okay. Now over here, this pink one, that is the template node. So just like in Maya, you've got a template layer. In Houdini, we've got a template flag. And you can see that the mountain here is templated. So that's this pink one right here. I'm not going to go over the lock. Well, I'll just, since I mentioned it, I'll go over it. This is the lock node. So I'll press it, right? It turns red. Let me get my display flag on here. Okay, what the lock does is it freezes or caches the incoming nodes into that node. So it's now in memory. But what that also means is that it's not anymore looking upstream. It's not looking at any of the nodes above itself anymore. So if I cut it, press Y and I cut it, it still holds. Before it had an error when I cut it, but now it doesn't have an error. It just holds whatever came in, it holds it into that node. But you get in trouble with this because if you forget that you did that and you make changes upstream, You're like, well, I don't see anything. What's wrong? There's a bug, but that's not true. It's just that you've got this lock node. So let's unlock it. And now you get an error. I like how big that error is. It's like danger. So let's look at what this is. If I hover over here and I click on my info, the info is always this I. In our case, it's an error, but when this info is really good, it gives us a lot of information. Here it's like error, not enough sources specified. It's just kind of like a lot of like Houdini language is kind of funny like that. It's like, what does that mean, right? It just means that there's no input. I put it in and it's happy again. So this mountain needs an input to crumple. It has nothing to crumple. So that's what the lock does. It freezes it in the node. And now we don't have that error anymore, but we're back to I for information. Let's look at our information. We've got a piece of geometry that has 266 points, polygons. Let's make this bigger. We only have we have the P attribute, which you always get for free, and you have some other information here, and you can always like type some notes and put it there as well. Okay, last thing is you notice how in this mountain you have a purple and a blue circle. So what that means is there's two flags in one. If I press Command, well, I guess it's the same on this keyboard. If you press Command or Control click on this flag, you have now separated the render flag and the display flag. The purple is for render, and the blue is for display. Typically they're together, but sometimes you want them to be separate, especially if you've got some heavy geometry that you only want rendered, but you don't want displayed. So it's an efficiency thing. If you want to like display low res but render high res, there's a lot of workflows like that. And this is kind of the first workflow. So if you go to the render view, see my mouse here, render view, and I'm going to hit render. You see that I now have my sphere rendered, however, my scene is displaying the rock. Typically it'd be vice versa. So if I command click, both of them are now together again. Go to your render view. Now you see the rock. I'm going to display my sphere. Command click my mountain, and now I'm rendering my rock. They're now separated. Okay, so command click, or you command click to separate them, but you just do it. You should just be able to, wait. Yeah, I guess it's command click to separate, command click to get it back together. So that's render display. So, and then those are pretty much, there's more flags than that, but we don't need to get into that. These are the flags for inside what we call SOPs. This is SOPs. This is surface operators. And you'll see that we're in SOPs because you see the upper right says geometry. If I go up, now I'm back here again in my scene. You see scene there. There's two more flags here. What do these flags mean? I turn off that display, it's just gone. So the display flag on the scene level means I'm not seeing it in the scene. But if I go inside, it's still there. It's just not showing on that top level. If the green one, if I turn that off, I can't select it anymore, or I can't select it in the scene view anymore. It's not selectable. That's what the green one does. Okay, so I'm gonna go over as we go. I'm gonna like keep enforcing the UI and navigation and stuff like that as we go, but I think we're ready to kind of dive into our first exercise. Let's see here. Just a couple more things. Okay. If I want to duplicate this guy, let's just name him something. I'm just gonna double click on that name. I'm on the top level, so go press U if you're not on the top level, and I'm gonna type rock. So I've now renamed him. Let's say I want 2 rocks in my scene. Select that node, hold down Alt, and drag. Now I've got 2 of them. Hold down Alt, drag, and now you've got 2. But let's say I want to move. Actually, I'll do that on the inside. I use tab. You're welcome to just right click and get your nodes that way, but I just use tab because I'm used to it. I'm going to say tab transform. And then with my right mouse button, I can kind of use what's called a value ladder to slide values in my translate. Except this Wacom is going a little crazy. Ah! It won't stop changing. I need to abort.
Delete. And you can delete the node.
Nope. I think it's. What's the command for?
Oh, Foursquare?
Yeah.
Command Alt Escape.
Yeah. I don't know. It's okay.
There we go. And spacebar.
Okay, and then you can do the value ladder by right clicking and sliding the values in the translate, or you can just simply take the handle and move it. This is with the transform node. But you see, I'm in my node, but I'm seeing the previous guy. I'm seeing the previous rock that I made in the scene level. I don't want to see him if I'm focusing on this guy in my network, right? So there's a little icon up here that says show all objects, hide other objects, and ghost other objects. That's going to become handy. And a lot of times I hide other objects. So be cognizant of that guy as we start making our networks. Right next to him, you've got your shaded. You've got smooth shaded, flat wired shaded, wireframe. So that's your shading up there. I like the default wired shading. And the rest of this we're gonna kind of learn as we go. So we're gonna start our forest now. And then one last thing, you can color your nodes. I like that a lot. So coloring, naming, feel free to do that. Any questions so far?
How do you color the nodes?
How do you what?
How do you color the nodes?
You just click on the color. There's a shortcut C. You can toggle C and bring up the colors, and then
Color the node.
select the node, color it, just like that. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not able to select an object for some reason.
You're not able to just draw a little box around it and select it? No?
I mean, so I just select the object, but not the actual object.
So let's get rid of this guy. Okay. And then we can select it. See, where is he? So we want to say hide other objects. And then space G with your mouse there. Okay. So he was there, he's just hiding. And you wanna move him or color him or?
I guess just button.
So press return, and now you've got your handles. So when you're transforming, when you want to translate, or anytime you're using a tool in Houdini, and I use tools and nodes kind of interchangeably. These can be called tools, they can be called nodes or operators. You don't see the handles, press enter. Or in your keyboard it's return. Just press return, you get your handles. Okay, so I need to give everybody some files now. If you need to take a bathroom break, this would be the time.
Everyone make sure you are in discoverable mode for airdrop.
So I need to get on your Wi-Fi then, right?
Yes, I'll do that.
Or unless you've got,
Yeah, it should connect to Ethereum.
wait a second, network.
And then from the network name, choose Ethereum, and then I'll log in.
It's not coming up.
Can I try?
Yeah. Yeah, that's getting a rainbow.
Why are we getting the spinning ball?
I don't know. Let me try to get rid of stuff.
Here's not there.
It's a Finder thing?
Yeah.
I can get, if I can, I guess I can just like Google.
Yourself, and then bring it up.
Yeah, I just want to put my password in and have that on Camtasia.
Yeah, we can stop Camtasia.